What's that?
I said I meant it.
Oh, I'm sorry. All by myself, don't wanna be all by myself. I should schedule these so I don't have to wait so long for people to show. We have 2 likes already, so there's 2 people here. If you hear sound off, we're waiting for people to show up. Let me check the chat. Hey, Isaac. Thank you for being here, sir. All right, chat is working. Sock Wyvern is here too. Let me get my beer. Tonight we are going with the tried and true, the favorite. This is. Hey, Josh, it's going well. Luke B switched over from a Patton documentary for this. I don't know, Luke. I'm not going to even begin to act like I'm more entertaining than Patton. That was pretty entertaining, you old man. Hey, Keith. Here for the revolution and the thick chicks. Woohoo! Don't we all like the thick chicks? No, this is my go-to beer. This is my fave. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's the old reliable. You know, I just want to enjoy a beer. I'm not looking for an experience. I go get my Yingling. All right, this is the Eric Carmen edition of Beard and Bearded because I'm all by myself. The bearded gringo is sick this evening, and we hadn't done this in so long that I decided I just wanted to get one done. We hadn't talked to you in a long time. Isaac had asked about what happened with the video we uploaded Friday. And what had ended up happening was, I'm an idiot. I uploaded a video and it went live and then it went private and no one could watch it. Oh, yeah, Big Nate just got the Yingling in Texas. It is really, really good. So what had happened is most of y'all know we're Sabbath keepers. And we don't do anything between sundown on Friday and sundown on Saturday. Well, I started the video uploading before sundown, and then after Sunday, I realized I forgot to set it to public. So I went and set it to public, but then my conscience got the better of me, so I went back and changed it back to private because I shouldn't have messed with it on the Sabbath. So I ended up screwing it all up, screwed up the algorithm. Won't get any views now. Oh well, I'm an idiot. I should have just left it alone. I should have set it public to begin with, and then I wouldn't have had the problem. But Luke B, the Scorpius video is back up. That's what I was just trying to explain. It was my fault. It is. I'll be honest with you now. I am very, very shocked that they're admitting that technology exists, because that technology to me is game changer, revolutionary. Like, somebody better go invade Israel right now, because once they have that up and running and fully deployed, they almost can't be touched. Because now they have all the advantages of electronic warfare and you know, comms and satellites and radar and all this stuff, but they can deny all of that to who they're fighting, and you can't fight against that. You know, if someone's got the radar and the sonar and the comms and the combat websites, which is a real thing, there really is a combat website. You know, in this constant flow of information and total access to all available technology, and they can deny that to you, that becomes very, very, very difficult to defeat. I mean, we're gonna have to replace the phrase nuclear option with the phrase Scorpius option. Isaac says China will take it from Israel. They'll want it. Everybody's gonna want this. Like I said, because this system, I didn't do a good job of explaining it because, as usual, I was. But this system is like, you can set it and then it scans and it can detect these things. It can detect electromagnetic systems. This is my understanding of it. No, I'm a. You know, I barely graduated high school. You know, I mean, who am I? But my understanding of what I read from the press releases is that it scans and it detects electromagnetic systems out there, and I'm not sure. Like, is every electrical system an electromagnetic system? I don't know. I know you use magnets to generate electricity, so it seems like every system would be electromagnetic, but I don't know. I know an electrical engineer. I should call him and ask him for some idea. I think I will do that actually. I will contact the electrical engineer we know and ask him. But you know, it detects it and it says, okay, that's my plane. That's the bad guy's plane. Bad guy's plane gets shut off. And see, what I don't know and what I'd like to know is, does it just shut off? Does it fry all electrical systems? Or is it like this limited, you know, if you shoot it at an airplane, will it turn off the electrical combustion if it uses electrical combustion? I don't really know how jet engines work, but surely there's some electricity in it. You know, does it deny all electricity to an electrical circuit? Can it shut down every electrical circuit? To me, that's mind-bound. You know, that's like crazy technology. It's like a mini EMP in. Right now, it's in the back of the truck, but you know they're going to start miniaturizing it. Now they're going to eventually get it down to where it's an EMP gun. They're going to have a little rifle that they can. There used to be this stuff in the Marine Corps. They still use it. What was it called? We call it laser tag, but there was some real name for it. And you had all these sensors you'd put on your body, and then there'd be this unit you'd put on the end of your rifle. Or any of your weapon systems. It was the same unit, but it would get it would be programmed for the weapon you were supposedly using. So you would put the same unit on the end of your your M16, and then we would have the same one for the tow system, and they would just tell the box which it was, so that it knew how powerful to be. So if you shot a tank with your AR-15, your M16, it wouldn't do anything. But the same box set to be a tow missile if you shot the tank, of course. Well, they couldn't get, we were out doing this one day, and they couldn't get the one for the tow system to work. So they took one of our rifles and set our rifles to have all the power of the tow missile in the rifle. And they said, of course, they said, now you got to be fair now. Use it like a tow missile. Don't use it like a rifle. And of course, the first thing we did went out and engage an entire company of tanks with an M16. And all the tanks are dead in a second. It's like a god gun almost. That's what this system seems like to me. If it can fry every electrical type of circuit. Hey, Chief Likeable, how you doing, sir? If it can fry every electrical circuit, isn't that a god gun? You know, if you can say, all right, we don't want that building to have power, and we don't want that car to have power, and we don't want, you know, those night vision goggles, and you boom, and those night vision goggles fry. That seems like just an overwhelming amount of power. Yeah, it was an AR chambered and tow missile instead of 5.56. It was really, really cool. I think it was my squad leader who had it, and the tanks would start their little assault, and we wouldn't even get up. He'd just grab his AR and go over there and ding, 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 and they've got this beep sound that goes off, and all the tanks are bee. The whole LZ is just tanks beeping at, in a matter of seconds. Chief Likeable is having to disassemble the furnace in the cold. What is going on, Chief? That seems like, well, you're probably just listening to us while you work, so don't worry about it. Seems like a terrible time to be having to disassemble a furnace, though, in the middle of the... Hey, Freedom Dad is here. Shalom, sir. Miles Gear. Thank you, Corn Pop. That's what it was called. It was called Miles Gear. It is sub-zero where he's at, and I want to say he is, and I'm not going to say his exact place, but I want to say it's the northeast. I know for a fact it's the northeast, but it seems like it's the northeast south of New York. It was -6 degrees last night. It is time to move down south, sir. Tactical Homestead, what's up? Hey, Tactical Homestead. I was watching some of your stuff the other day. Cheese puff. Yeah, when I asked Mar cheese puffs, it says lots of empty shelves nationwide. Go get food. I was just talking to Mariah before we started this. What we're going to talk about, and what's on my mind is all of the empty shelves I see. He tackle. Did I get that wrong? Is it not? Is it Isaac who's pulling apart the furnace? Oh, well, I can't see. I missed all that. I'm sorry. If I got that wrong, I apologize. Target Sports USA has 223 for $360 per 1,000 with. Wow, that's 36 cents a round. Big Nate is saying Target Sports USA has 223 for $360 per 1,000 rounds with free shipping. That's impressive. That's low. You know, I paid 55 cents a round a few weeks ago, and I was really excited. Chuck Norris is here. Eric Cartman. Get me in the kitchen and make me some pie. I say, what do you want to talk about? And, in my mind, I'm thinking, these empty shelves are really, really concerning. But everyone's talking about the empty shelves, and I didn't want to just bore everybody. But, yes, Sock Wyvern, AR-10 is way better than an M1A1. I mean, just light years ahead. But there are really a lot of empty shelves. I mean, a lot of empty shelves. Gas stations, I was in a gas station the other day, and the entire candy counter was wiped out. It was gone. And I go, oh, man, you shouldn't be eating candy. And you're right, I shouldn't, but I love candy. And Isaac just got 1,000 rounds in 9mm steel case for 29 cents a round. But still, this is food. It's not good food. It's not healthy food. But this is food. And there was none of it on the shelves. I asked the woman there, what's going on? Why is there no candy? And she said, trucks just aren't bringing it to us. It's just not coming. She said, we're ordering it. It's just not coming in. And I was somewhere else recently, too. Where was it? Maybe, I don't know. Because I don't go to Walmart. Maybe it was Home Depot. I was somewhere else recently where I saw empty shelves. I was like, whoa, because they were. Now, I mean, I'm an American man of a certain age. I'm 46 years old. I grew up in the Reagan era. It's kind of when I came to consciousness. I definitely remember Reagan's second election because I remember staying up all night to listen to the returns. This is the golden era now. It's the 1950s under Eisenhower, and it's the 80s under Reagan, and those are like the golden age of modern America. And for me, empty shelves is what we used to indict the Soviet Union with. You would talk about, there's only one style of shoe, and you have to take whatever side of the empty shelves. They have to wait in bread lines and all this stuff. This was the ultimate indictment of the Soviet system. They had empty shelves. They couldn't buy things. Their consumer was. Now this tells you a lot about America. Why is why are we judging? But you know what? That's not a bad system. Judging the efficacy of a system. Judging the benefits of a system off of how well what kind of lifestyle it allows its average citizens. What sort of better? I mean, freedom obviously is more important than material goods. But after having your freedom, the next thing you want is a quality of life. And we're starting to see bare shelves and people not being able to get things. Cars, there's certain types of cars right now, the newer they are, the worse it is too. They can't repair cars because they can't get the parts. They're 6 months back ordered. There's some parts for high-end cars. What I was reading, someone's talking about something interesting. I was reading an article recently that was talking about Mercedes-Benz. There's there's some things on newer high-end, hey, Timothy Young, you're not late, higher-end Mercedes-Benz where they say they don't have a projection on when the parts will be available. It's like, we don't know, we can't fix it, and we don't know when we can fix it because we can't get the parts. That is crazy. That's crazy. In this modern interconnected world, where in theory I can go on and order a part right now from Germany, and they can have the order right now, they can have the payment right now, and what's wrong is they can't ship it. We've been shipping. I was watching. It's all connected. It's all this rabbit warren that all's connected. I was watching something with the boys the other night about the Sutton Hoo. If you've never seen Sutton Hoo, you got to look it up. It's fascinating. You've probably seen a picture of the helmet if you didn't know what it was. But it was this ancient Anglo-Saxon burial where they did a ship burial. They took a whole giant Viking ship, and because the early Anglo-Saxons were just Vikings. The Vikings were the people they left behind. And they did this Anglo-Saxon burial, and they put this king in there, and he had this elaborate helmet, although it probably wasn't his most elaborate helmet because they say it was repaired, and it was about 100 years old at the point it went in the ground. But it had stones in it, garnets in it from Sri Lanka. And this was in the 600s. And they were able to get garnets from, now, obviously there's a big difference between a luxury, precious gem like garnets and parts for your high-end Mercedes-Benz, but not as much as you think, if you think about it. But, 1,400 years ago, 1,500 years ago, we could get stones from Sri Lanka. And now we're not sure we can get car parts from Germany. This is an indictment of the system. If there's anything an indictment of the system, that's an indictment of the system. Because with the technology we have, with the networks we have, with the globalization, God help us, we've got planes crisscrossing the Atlantic multiple times a day. I don't even know. Somebody look it up. Someone who's bored, look up how many transatlantic flights there are a day. I bet there's a lot. During the Berlin Airlift, if you're not familiar with the Berlin Airlift, right after World War II, Stalin had been playing nice throughout World War II so that we would, support him through the war. And in the run-up to the fall of Berlin, the Soviets were just going mad. All they wanted to do was get territory. So they were just pushing troops. And they actually enveloped Berlin. They got all the way around Berlin, and you basically had all of Germany. And in the post-war settlement, what they did, because they didn't just free Germany, there's also the Nuremberg trials, and all this stuff had to happen. And so they split Berlin up into three portions. The Soviets had one section of Berlin, the Americans had another section of Berlin, and the British had another section of Berlin. And then the Americans and the Brits combined their section of Berlin, and so you got West Berlin and East Berlin. And West Berlin was democratic, free, and East Berlin was communist. And so the Soviets wanted to get total control of Berlin. So they blockaded it. They just stopped letting anything cross those portions of Germany they controlled, and nothing could get into Berlin. And their thought was, well, we'll just starve them out, and West Berlin will just not even have a choice. They'll have to. Just watch the documentary on the Las Vegas cover-up. Looks like special ops took out a bunch of foreign bad guys, and Obama didn't like the narrative, so covered it up. You know what I really want to know, Timothy Young, about that is how many people were shot and how many people were trampled. Because allegedly, this jackass was shooting all these people with a bump stock from 400 yards. Now, I know it was a giant-ass crowd. It's not like he was sniping individuals. But even so, 400 yards with a bump stock, I would be willing to bet you, even if the standard narrative is completely correct, even if there's no hanky-panky going on, I would be willing to bet you fewer than 10 people were killed by gunfire, and the rest possibly all got trampled. That's just speculation. I've got no inside information. I'm betting you though that's how that worked. I bet, and that's probably why they've never released those numbers, because it doesn't fit either narrative. The crowd stampede was more deadly than the shooter. And we know this because we see what happens at soccer stadiums every year around the whole world, or at Hajj. Not every year, but frequently the Hajj in Mecca, there's millions of Muslims in there, and every so often there'll be a stampede, and they'll just kill shocking amounts of people. This isn't a criticism of Islam necessarily, and the soccer matches are the same way. Every year there'll be stampedes. They'll call them surges. The crowd will surge. It just happened at that rap concert too. I can't remember that. And the crowd surged, and they killed 20 people or whatever it was. Crowds are just dangerous that way. I'd be willing to bet you more people were trampled at the Las Vegas shooting than were shot. Anyway, so the Soviets blockade Berlin, and they're like, you guys, you don't have a choice. You're gonna have to give in because you can't get nothing now, and we ain't gonna give it to you until you surrender. And America said, "Oh, we're America." I mean, what America should have said was, "We're American. We're gonna kick your ass." But everyone was sick of fighting at that point, and I understand why. Instead, America's like, "We're America. We'll give you the stuff." And we started what's called the Berlin Airlift. And they were just flying an entire city's worth of stuff in every day. Every day they just flew in enough stuff to feed and fuel, and they flew it all in with airplanes. And it's the most amazing thing when you start looking at the amount of stuff they were able to ship from America, because Europe was still in flames. And we were able to support the entire western half of Berlin off of airplanes, and I want to say this was in the late 40s, if I remember correctly. I believe this was right before the Korean War, but I'd have to look it up. So, in the late 40s, early 50s, we were able to support an entire city with airlifts. So now we've added on all this information technology, we've added in the internet, we've added in globalism and interconnected banking systems, and I could literally right now, send money all the way across the world and back around instantaneously in less than a second. I could just go, and I could send money. Ooh. But with all that, we can't get car parts from Germany. That should tell you that there is something deeply and desperately wrong right now. Everyone's talking about other stuff. Let me go see what the chat's saying, because y'all are being interesting. I won't go back too far. Trump banning bump stocks pissed me off. Yeah, for all 4 years, the only thing he did that made me angry was them damn bump stocks. Yeah, MacArthur was right. We should have glassed China, and Patton was right. We should have glassed Russia while we were at it. We're just going to go back right here, and then we won't go back any farther. Chuck Norris says, "I wish I had 1,000 rounds of anything." Chuck Norris's Honda keeps on trucking. Someone's shooting Hornady black 75 grain boat tail hollow point out of a 16-inch AR. Isaac says it took a while to get common size tires ordered for his Jeep. Cheese Puff says 10,000 rounds is a minimum per rifle. Now, admitting that I'm nowhere even close to that, yeah, I think you're right. At least for your family faith freedoms rifle. If you got some weird, 375 H&H, H&R Win Mag elephant missile, yeah, maybe you don't need 10,000 rounds for that. Something you just. But a rifle you intend to rely on, you should be constantly working towards at least that 10,000 round goal. I agree. Not even close to it myself, though. Okay. Chuck Norris Gun Club is about to get certified to make parts. I don't know what that is, if that's for rifles. They're okay, but for $1,500 for a FAL versus $1,500 for an AR-10, a few hundred round of ammo. So this is exactly right, because I would like to see a channel like Forgotten Weapons do sort of a side-by-side FAL AR-10, because the FAL got worldwide adoption. Lots of militaries adopted the FAL all over the world, and of course America went with the M14 or the M1A1, which was just obsolete. don't lose your shit on me. It was a fine rifle. It was just the Garand rechambered for 308 with a box magazine. 10 years prior, when they first started thinking about it, it was a great rifle, but things moved on, and the FAL was much better. And then the AR-10, Eugene Stoner designs the AR-10 first. And I would love to have someone talk about